Commission to order with Chairman Whitehurst not present. I would entertain a motion for a Chairman Pro Tem.
And I'll nominate Jason Jarrett.
Have a motion. Is there a second?
Support.
Roll call vote. Calvert.
Here.
Jackson.
Hello? Here.
We're voting on the motion.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes.
Orlowski.
Yes.
Bello.
Yes.
Lenanga.
Yes.
And I'll abstain. So with that, we are officially in session. The first order of business will be approval of minutes for May 10th, 2018. Any questions or comments on the minutes? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from May 10th, 2018.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, roll call. Calvert.
Yes.
Jackson.
Stain.
Orlowski.
Yes.
Bello.
Yes.
Lenanga.
Abstain.
And I will vote yes. All right, with that, we'll move on into public hearing. The first petition is PZ 180007, rezoning and annexation for property located at 17W479 Manor Lane, petitioner Leticia Valdez. Let me explain real quick how the process will work. We will start with presentation of the petitioner. If you come up and present what you want at this podium, you'll need to be sworn in, give your name for the record and address. Then we'll move on into staff input, public participation and questions. At that point, anybody wishing to speak can come up and state their name for the record and speak. And what we'll do is have anybody that wants to speak sworn in at the same time as the petitioner. So we'll get everybody done at once, save the court reporter a little bit of time. And then we'll move to questions from the commission, closing comments of the petitioner if you have anything to say, and then we will discuss and if there's a motion to vote, we'll vote as appropriate. So with that, anybody that thinks they will speak tonight, even if you're not sure, stand up, be sworn in, and then as you come up and speak, state your name and address at that time. Okay, so with that, presentation of the petition.
Good evening. My name is Ruben Valdez with RJ Concrete. My wife, Leticia Valdez, also owner of RJ Concrete. We're here today to ask to get annexed into the village for the reasoning of being able to run our business out of that lot. Currently, the rear of our property is commercial M1, and we'd like to rezone the entire property M1.
Okay. Any other comments at this time?
No.
Okay. So staff input. Whenever you're ready. Director Grill.
Good evening. Petitioner is requesting rezoning of basically the north half of their lot on Manor Lane M1 to match the zoning that exists on the south side of the property. The comprehensive master plan calls for this area to be redeveloped mainly for non-commercial purposes. In the staff report, I did include the section of the comprehensive plan that deals with this area. In particular, there is a very nice site plan that was included that showed how this area might develop. In terms of the specific zoning request being made tonight, staff is concerned that this will start a process of just single lot redevelopment in this particular area and not meet the desire of the comprehensive plan. And the basically a more complete and regional type of plan as opposed to an individual lot plan. Additionally, the type of use that the petitioner is seeking, they have indicated, at least to staff, that what they would like to do is have their office there and then be able to park their equipment in the back. And certainly M1 allows for an office and storage. The village has setback requirements. village has screening requirements in the M1 if they were to do something like that. Staff's issue at this particular point is the fact that as a single lot coming in along Manor Lane, Manor Lane is a county and or township road. Township maintains it, county patrols it, and staff is unsure as to whether or not the roadway can accommodate the size trucks that may be utilized by the company. And until the county were to provide a statement or a letter to the village saying that they had no problem with the type of vehicles that would be utilizing Manor Lane, I believe this request might be a little premature. Like I say, to wanting to zone the entire piece M1 when the back piece is already zoned M1 seems logical, but right now, that street right now is mainly residential, unincorporated residential, but still residential nonetheless. And this would be an intrusion into that mid-block. And I think it wouldn't necessarily be appropriate for the type of traffic that we're talking about to utilize Manor Lane in the way that the petitioner would like to use it. That's why staff would be recommending a continuance of this for at least 60 days to give the petitioner time to talk to other owners on the block and coming back possibly with a more comprehensive plan of redevelopment for this area. One that would take into account the existing development, the proposed development, traffic in and out, and what sort of impacts that may have. Again, I think the comprehensive plan is pretty clear that the village was looking for more of a comprehensive redevelopment plan for this area, not individual lot-by-lot development. And that's why staff is not recommending necessarily one way or the other, but that there be a continuance to give the owner time to seek additional input from surrounding properties. With that, I'll turn it back over to the commission. If they have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Just one real quick comment. At the beginning, you said that this area on the comprehensive plan is shown as non-commercial, but I think you meant non-residential.
I meant non-residential, yes.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. It shows it basically as commercial mixed use?
Commercial mixed use, yes.
Okay. All right, public participation and questions. So at this point, if you want to come up one by one, state your name and record. This not going to necessarily time you, but try to be concise and not repeat the same things over and over again. Thank you.
Debbie Delecki, 17 West Side, 16 Hill. President of the Suburb Hill Homeowners Association. For those of you that may not be aware, we've been fighting this. My boys are out of college now, but they were this big. We were fighting to keep this residential. Our 3 blocks, Hill, Schiller, and Manor. We gave up that fight. 2006 or so, for those of you not aware, we had a development company come in. We had contracts drawn up. I think we had 90% of us were signed on. You guys were going to have a nice company there, and it was all moving forward. You finally got to us. You were going to buy us out. The market tanked. The deal fell through. So we all sit there still as homeowners. There's no businesses in amongst our three blocks where we are. There are no businesses. For those of you that haven't been there, it's all residential. So I went to the meeting you had up at the library, or the presentation, saw that it's M1. I'm fine with that. I think most of us are fine with that. You want it, you want the revenue, that's fine. But I just please ask you this, to look at your own neighborhood. Don't put a concrete company next to your home with your children or your grandchildren. We have a blind child, we have 2 deaf, hearing impaired children in these blocks. There's signage up there where there's no trucks allowed. But why would you invite trucks to come in there? Do this the right way. Let's go back like we did in 2006. Go back and find a developer that wants to buy us all out, or big chunks of us, instead of piecemealing us. Think about your home. If nothing against your concrete company, but if he wanted to build next to your home, would you like that? You would prefer he'd take out your whole block, him and a bunch of other people. Do you understand what I'm saying? We're willing to go. Do it the right way, though, please. Just be respectful to us, as it's all residential. There are no businesses in there right now. This will start something, And it's not the right way to start something. Put a little bit more thought into it. It was done once before, where someone was found. Like I said, and we had contracts, we were going, and you were gonna have us, and then the market fell. It can happen again. Just do it the right way. You'll have more money, you won't have us fighting, and you can sleep at night knowing you're not putting trucks in the middle of a residential neighborhood. It's the right way to do things. I think you'd agree. Think of it next to your neighborhood. Buy us all out at once. We're ready to go. We've done it before. Thank you.
Thank you. Whoever's next?
James Smithson, 17W530 Manor Lane. I've been there like 14 years. First thing I want to say is this has been going on for 4 months. I think it's ironic that now this is brought before you guys. He's been doing whatever he wants, whenever he wants. It's went from 5-ton weight limit to no trucks. Does whatever he wants every morning at 5:45 in the morning. I work for a construction company. We can't start any machines, any trucks in a residential area till 7 a.m. His workers, yesterday morning, probably 65 miles an hour in front of my house. It's a 1-block road. No consideration whatsoever for any of the houses on that block. I paid full price before the market tanked. I was looking forward to Walmart or whoever, the developer, gonna develop it and get out of there and make some money. This can't happen, guys. It ain't gonna happen. Ironically, he's already stoned the whole back property, completely stoned, which you're gonna see pictures. He's done everything he wants to do, as far as I know, with no authorization. There again, 5-ton weight limit. DuPage County, after listening to us time and time again, they finally put up no trucks. No trucks means no trucks. It doesn't mean no pickup trucks. It means no trucks. He's got tag trailers, he's got 10-wheelers just going up and down that road all day long. It's ridiculous. It's a residential area. I paid $300,000 for my house. I paid through the nose. This ain't gonna happen. Whether it's with you guys, with the county, it ain't gonna happen. And I think that the appropriate time would have been to do this prior to doing what he wants to do, when he wants to do it, with no regard to the people that live on Manor Lane. None whatsoever. There has been no consideration whatsoever. And I can even indulge more into this. I mean, he's got idiots driving his trucks that pull mud down the street. Now, did he clean up the mud? He did. But I went to him personally and said something to him. This is ridiculous, man. You know, it's a 1-block road. You guys gonna take a house in the middle of the block and let him do whatever he wants. In essence, that's what he's done up until today. The county doesn't do nothing, the sheriff doesn't do nothing. Their contention is we don't have scales, we don't know. I drive a semi, I haul heavy machinery. I told the sheriff time and time again, I've called the county, the developer, or the zoning commission of the county. They ain't done nothing. They've come out there and tagged people. They tagged him. Cease and desist. Stop what you're doing. Did he stop? No, he did not. That whole back lot is stoned. And where did that stone come from? It didn't fall out of the sky. He drove down a 5-ton weight limit, which now is no trucks. There's 3 signs posted on there, no trucks, period. Doesn't mean 5 tons, it means no trucks. So I think that this is ridiculous. And like I said, I was in on that when the developer was gonna buy out the whole area. You guys were gonna have a giant super center or whatever it was. That'd have been great. I would have made money. I'd have been gone. But for this to happen, it's absurd. And starting the machine, starting the trucks at 5:45 in the morning, that's ridiculous. I mean, it's just, I mean, this is nonsense. None of you guys up here on this board would allow that to happen. Villa Park wouldn't allow it to happen. So if you want to call us Villa Park, this can't happen. It's as simple as that. Like she said, if you want to take us off. One by one, that's ridiculous. So what's next? You know, so that's what I got to say, and I'll tell you, it ain't gonna happen.
Can I ask you a quick question? And same question for you. Where do you live in relation to the property, just out of curiosity?
I'm 3 properties to the west and on the north side of the road, north side of Manor.
Okay. And how about you? Okay, Thank you.
So, like I said, I'm in construction, man. I understand what he's trying to do. I just think that 4 months later, after dealing with all this crap, and now come here, that's absurd, man. It just doesn't happen. I mean, you know, it's supposed to be America.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak?
I have some pictures for you to get an idea.
Okay.
We're a neighborhood.
Why don't you start that at that end, and then we'll turn it around here so anybody in the audience can see it. Maybe they can get it on camera.
And everybody's been putting money into their
Can
homes.
you please state your name
My
and
name is
address?
Barbara Thielenhouse. I live at 17 West 461 Manor Lane, directly next door to this property.
Thank you.
Everybody's been putting money into their homes. I mean, really, everybody. The gentleman over here, he just put in a brand new driveway. It's a very nice residential neighborhood. Smack dab in the middle of it, we have a trucking company. And it's all stone. I mean, I put some pictures of our houses so you get the idea. We're a real neighborhood. And it's all stone. They start at 4:30 in the morning. They get out there, their chains on their equipment. It's loud. It jars you awake. They race up and down the street. They don't belong on our street. It's a no truck zone. Not only are they doing it now, but other trucks are following them because, hey, they do it. So they've started a trend. It's getting worse. The street isn't wide enough to allow for this. It's capricious. I mean, this is not going to benefit the welfare of the community. And our property values are being decreased by this, along with our health and our well-being. And there's no consideration for that. We need that. And like she said, we had a nice plan. They were going to buy us all up for a decent amount of money, where we weren't losing anything. And we were willing to go. But you can't spot zone us out of there, you know. The front half of that is DuPage County, and it is not M1, it's residential. So if you annex him in, you're the one who's making an M1. And M1 is a light industrial, it's a factory. It's not heavy-duty dump trucks. You know, it's not even the use that you would use it for. So it doesn't make any sense. You know, the prima facie spot zoning, have you had any environmental impact studies done? We have wells. You know, they are going to use different products to clean their trucks, to do things like that with. What about our groundwater? You know, we can't have that. I mean, we have wells. We don't want to come into Villa Park and be M1 and all this stuff. That's our homes. And until you can purchase them at a decent price where we can move on and still have a life that we have now, it's not fair for you to do this to us, you know, for whatever you're getting out of it, which makes me wonder sometimes. The AICP is a American Planning Association, comes in and they do all of this. They check your environment, they check everything. Who's going to monitor the groundwater if this is allowed? Are you guys going to pay to monitor our groundwater? And what happens if it gets contaminated? What happens? You know, they're going to be using different chemicals to clean their trucks and asphalt. And right now, it's only dump trucks. But once you give them this, it's going to be cement trucks. It's going to be out of control. It's just not fair to us. I think he's right. It is spot zoning into where it is just damaging the people around it. It's irresponsible. So I really hope that you give this a lot of thought. Like I said, you wouldn't want it next to your house. Trust me. And they've already stoned it in. And we have a meeting at DuPage County for permission of them to stone it. It's already stoned in. So they no longer have a septic field there because it's all crushed underneath the stone. So now it's not even a residential. The house needs to be knocked down now. I mean, you know, and there'd have to be a lot of footage on the sites. They'd have to be 30 feet off my property, 30 feet off the property next to them. So that gives them a 60-foot frontage. He expressed to me that he was going to build a large building there, and he's going to put this giant fence up. Even the plat survey that I got isn't correct for that. So I've gone to the county and asked for their updated plat survey, because now I'm going to have to pay for a survey, which I already have, but whatever, you know. It's just not fair to us. I hope that you guys take this into consideration. You wouldn't want it in your neighborhood. And if you're going to buy us all out. Make us a big deal. We'll go. Although I like being in an unincorporated area, and I don't know where I could find another one, but there you go.
Okay.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
My name is Tammy Schmidt. I live at 17W445. I've lived in Villa Park over 35 years. Hi, Mike. I bought my house in 2003, never expected to live in the nightmare that I do live in. As I sit today, the trucks behind me do not even follow ordinances, or at the end of the street of me follow ordinances. And now you're gonna let another company come in that evidently isn't following the rules either. The dust level in my backyard is unbelievable from 600 North Villa Avenue. Nothing's still been done about that. Per your own ordinances, there should be a solid wooden fence. I was promised trees, never got them. Then we got the other end of the street where all those trucks run up and down our street. They're told millions of times they're supposed to go out Ardmore Avenue. Nobody enforces it. Villa Park doesn't enforce it. I started going to court with the no idle law because the trucks were running hours and hours and hours at a time. When am I allowed to sleep if you're letting these companies run from 4 a.m. to 11 p.m. at night? When am I supposed to get my wealth and health out of this? Because as of it sits right now, I've been so sick since that has been allowed. The truck fumes are horrible. I get migraine headaches walking out my backyard. The dust from that lot is atrocious. It's just unreal. This is what's happening now. What's going to happen for our future? Because no one's obeying any laws. And I have the proof. There was just an accident the other day. A guy on a motorcycle got hit. Have you driven down Villa Avenue to see all the stone and sand on the ground from the vehicle companies right there? It's horrid. I really like to know how many accidents have been over there since that company moved in, because I know of at least a few. They're supposed to be cleaning that street once a week. I'm lucky if I see them once every 6 months clean that street. You've got a bike path over there, and that's always been my concern, being a health assistant for the district. Someone's going to really get hurt, and these laws need to start being enforced, and that's what I'm asking, because it's gotten ridiculous. And like he said, in other towns, there is an ordinance that says you cannot start businesses till a certain time. My husband's a truck driver. He can't deliver 7 o'clock in the morning. So why are these truck companies are allowed to start up at 4 in the morning with no consideration to anybody around them? Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak at this time? See one more.
Yeah, my name is Javier, and I'm living at 436 Manon Lane. And Munoz, Javier Munoz. Yeah. Yeah, and then like they say, there's a residential area, and then right behind, right by Ardmore, it's quite a bit commercial. So they supposed to go through the Ardmore, and they still going through those streets, and so that we have to watch our kids all the time when they're playing outside because of the trucks. I mean, we have to watch it anyways because of safety. And I work at a chemical company, and I always take a shower and everything, so that way I don't bring any chemicals to them. And then, like I said, I mean, they still bring chemicals with all the equipment, and they driving by. Yeah. So that's all I have to say. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Seeing no one else wishing to speak at this time, we will move to questions from the commission. Any questions from the commission?
The house has already been torn down, Patrick, or not?
No.
So it's still there?
Yeah.
So this old Google Maps picture that I'm looking at has a house on it, and it's still sitting there? Is it in rundown condition or anything, or? Okay, yeah.
It's fairly rundown, yes.
I mean, I can see that.
I have a question. I noticed Eatonstrip Paving is down at the end, and I know their address is Hill. How do they get in and out? Do they not come down Manor, they go Hill? Hill-
Excuse me,
Hill to Ardmore?
real quick. We've got a court reporter trying to record all this, so if you're going to speak, we need one at a time, and preferably, come up to this podium if you can. It's a quick answer, one person. Thanks.
But he's correct. They go out Hill out to Ardmore. Yes.
No, you'll have a chance to, one more chance.
Is it true that there's going to be a septic issue? Somebody mentioned that there was going to be a septic issue, that you wouldn't have a septic field anymore.
The septic has been eliminated, yes.
So then, how do you use the property as an office?
We use the living room there, put a computer and a printer, so when we go in the morning and get tagged out, get out to the job site.
Is that a habitable structure, or is that, can you run a business out of a, Patrick?
We would not allow a business to be run unless they have.
I guess it's, it's in the county, but,
Right.
well, half of the county. The residential
The
half.
structure itself is in the county.
So the residential structure, as far as the county is concerned, is uninhabitable, correct?
I would think so.
It was condemned for remote.
I'll ask Patrick this question, and then if you can chip in, you'll have your chance too. Patrick, there was a variation for a driveway on the north part of this property filed with the county. Is that true?
That is true.
Okay, and do you know when that was filed or when you heard about it?
We got the notice at the beginning of this week.
Okay, and the variation was to put a gravel parking lot?
To have a gravel parking lot and driveway on the property, yes.
And that's something that we would not allow in Villa Park by code, correct?
And that's why the response from the village was, this is something that the village would not allow, and we would hope the county would do the same.
And theoretically, if they were to store vehicles here, they would have to get permits to, you've had your chance, we may get back to you. Not trying to be rude, but to operate there, they couldn't operate on gravel parking lot, correct?
Correct.
They would have to pave, they would have to grade, they would have to get all the necessary permits to do all of that.
Correct, including stormwater permits, which would be huge. And in fact,
connect to our infrastructure.
we are aware that the gravel was dumped in the village, and a violation notice has been issued.
Okay. And to operate an office there, they would have to connect to our water and sewer, which is in Villa Avenue, correct? Or Ardmore might be, towards Ardmore might be closer?
No, Villa would be closer. If they were to annex,
Correct.
Yes.
If this were to go ahead with the annexation
And
and
the
the
zoning.
change of zoning.
yes, they would actually have to run a sewer and water line from Villa Avenue.
Okay. When you bought this property, was it under, were both property parcels under common ownership? Did one person own both of them?
Correct.
Do either you or Director Grill know how long that was the case, under the same ownership, or?
Currently for a very long time,
Very-
not to be certain people.
Okay. Yeah, because my guess is that when,
I think the original owners have been outside.
yeah, my guess is that when that was zoned, that triangle, that wedge, was all kind of seen as one use in the future, and things got parceled out over the time. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so no other questions at this time. This would be a chance for closing comments to the petitioner. If there's anything you want to say, come up, and then, because at that point, we will close the public hearing. We will speak amongst ourselves, and we may have additional questions. We may not, so.
I just want to say that we're not a ready-mix
Concrete company. We're just, we do residential driveways, patios, and sidewalks. Concrete company. We're not gonna have ready-mix dump trucks in the site. We're not gonna be, washing out concrete trucks underground. So I just wanted to clarify that we're not a ready-mix company, we do residential concrete. So we're not a huge outfit. We come in at 6 in the morning, we're out by like 6:15, and we're back at 5 in the afternoon. We're not going back up and down the streets all day. You know, we're in and out. That's it.
Okay, thank you. With that, we will close the public hearing and move to discussion by commission members. One thing I want to say to everybody that showed up tonight from the neighborhood, I know you probably feel like you haven't been heard, but this is happening because you were heard. This isn't the village taking an action to take this property. This is this property owner's right to request annexation and zoning in a process. Even if everybody in the village was opposed to it, everybody on staff, it's still their right to do so. The reason they're here is because you guys spoke up. So don't feel like you weren't heard, you actually were. The village came out, they saw what was going on, and they told them it couldn't continue like that. So they're trying to make it right. It may be after the fact, but they're trying to make it right, and your concerns were heard. The other property to your south that has all the issues, stay on staff. Patrick didn't. Let him know if
we had a meeting that we
yeah.
haven't followed through on.
And if they're not doing what they're supposed to do, that goes for both staff and that company. Keep at it. Certainly, if it's something, if it doesn't get done with staff, go to a village board meeting. Go to.
We were told it's a police officer, a former police officer, and his family is big in the county, so he's untouchable.
Right.
That property's in Villa Park, though, right?
Yep. Yes, but he's a renter.
That may be the case. Sometimes things are out over everybody's pay grade, but we hope that's not the case. We could still write tickets, or hopefully it doesn't get to that. Hopefully you can do that without going that route. But I wanted to say that before we get into this. So comments on what's before us.
I have history with this. I was here when the homeowner association came to the village and packed the hall. Many years ago when they were trying to do some annexation back then. Back then I was in favor of annexation if the whole area was annexed in as residential. I still feel the same way today. If you're gonna do something over there, take it all as one piece and not individual lots. As Patrick said, we do have something in the comprehensive plan. I know a little bit about what you guys were dealing with before the market crashed, and it would have been good for everybody. But to what we have today, I'm not in favor of it. I want it to be all or nothing.
Anybody else have any comments?
I agree with that, except that I would add that it's a confusing area because it's surrounded by at least light industrial, if not messy industrial, if there was such a zoning. But this is an enclave of residentials that I don't think there's any logic to putting one light industrial in the middle of all of it, so I would also be against it. But it is an interesting area.
Yeah, I agree. They're surrounded by commercial, but they are residential. And
I
to
wouldn't,
piecemeal it would be horrible.
Yeah.
I
So
wouldn't
you
even
need a
call it
developer.
commercial because there's residential homes
Yeah,
where the
exactly.
commercial is.
But they're surround, yeah,
Right.
right, but they're surrounded,
Yeah.
so to piecemeal the development will not work. I agree, it has to be you have to find a magic developer to come in
And while we do have commercial and some industrial-ish uses along North Avenue, there's commercial to the south, and there's certainly commercial to the west, closer to Ardmore. Thing to keep in mind is that, as far as I'm aware, none of these residential, except for maybe at the west end of Ardmore, west end towards Ardmore, and at the east end along Villa, have industrial in their side yard.
Right, right.
They might in their backyard, but that's different, and that was all there when they bought their homes. I mean, maybe the use wasn't there, but the zoning was there.
Right.
And what's happening on that property to your south, with the old lumberyard, is permitted by zoning, I hope.
Not dump trucks.
But there was an M1 zone property there when you bought your house. There's nothing to stop somebody from doing other M1 uses
There
there.
actually was nothing there. when we bought
This
our
is,
house.
this is our chance. I just want to say that's how that was. So I get that. And it should be kept up. But this is something being proposed between two single-family homes across the street from several
nice houses.
single-family homes.
Yes.
And there are some nice homes over there, correct? I couldn't vote in favor of it, certainly not tonight. I know the Director Grill suggested continuation to give them time to think about what they want to do, to look into things more deeply. I do have one question for you, Patrick. Do we have anything in our zoning ordinance that if a zoning request fails, where there's a time limit before they can reapply? I think I remember there may be of like 2 years. I might be making that up. I do a lot of it.
I do have one
Yes.
question or comment I'd like to clarify. Manor Drive or Road,
Manor Lane.
Manor Lane, that is township or county?
It's almost exclusively unincorporated and part of the county.
So it's the county?
Yes.
And it's the county from Villa Avenue to Ellsworth, is that correct? Ellsworth is at the end of the street?
Yes.
And Ellsworth is incorporated Villa Park?
Yes. And
Okay. I did a site visit over the weekend, and I did see the signs that said no trucks. So how would you lawfully enter and exit this property even if we rezoned it?
Well, I can answer your question because I was over there and I actually had a truck drive by me. So.
And is Hill Avenue, is that no trucks as well?
No trucks are all supposed to go to Ardmore, and the bus company, after fighting it for years, they're following that now.
Well, I met a semi on Hill Avenue on my way out, but
Well, Major Prime Plastics is not listening, but the
Yeah.
bus company,
yeah,
so.
is it the north side of Hill is Villa Park, correct? And the south side is unincorporated?
it's all,
It's
there's
piecemeal,
one house in
correct?
there.
Well, basically, once you get east of what would be Ellsworth, it's basically, there's one or two properties that are in the village, but once you get east of Ellsworth, it's all unincorporated county.
I thought there were a couple properties along there that were incorporated. That's what I.
Yeah, Inkstrup, and then the property on the north side is in.
You won't fully still.
But it's essentially a donut hole that's connected to the material yard east of Villa by two parcels on the south side of Manor. So it's kind of a dumbbell almost. A lobe here on the west side of Villa and then a lobe on the east side of Villa where is also unincorporated. Patrick's looking that up. Any other questions?
Me personally, I'd continue the meeting for 60 days and see if they can get any interest in the residents that want to incorporate into Villa Park as residential and not M1. Because that's the only way, I mean, if you're looking to get enforcement, the only way, if the county's not going to enforce any of the,
We get no enforcement.
right.
Fosterville Park, they say, is a county problem
Right.
because we live county. But yet it's a village, Villa Park business. So I had lots of fighting going on with the no idle law. They would not write the tickets. And I had video like you wouldn't believe. It's been a constant battle. It really has been a nightmare. And I take pride in my home, as sure you guys all do too, so. I'm sorry.
I know, we have a procedure, and because we are quasi judicial, we kind of got to try to stick to it. Any other comments while we're waiting?
That's a toughie with, I mean, we can't police county,
Right.
so.
I mean, that's
No,
the whole issue that I look at is we have no jurisdiction in unincorporated areas. So that's where I look at it, is if we continue the meeting for 60 days, 90, I don't know how long we can continue it for, and see what residents want to incorporate into Villa Park.
In M1.
Not, well, I wouldn't see how you'd be able to incorporate as M1 if it's all residential. Incorporate as residential, and that way you can.
Well, without a development agreement, I mean, without a annexation agreement,
Right.
everything comes in as R1. Guys, please, the court reporter's got to take down everything that's said. I'm not trying to be rude.
If you accepted them into Villa Park, then you would be in charge of regulation, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so you're saying at this point, because you are not about to do that, it's a DuPage County issue, right? Well, the trucks are in Village Villa Park, right, in the back, the rock and all that, so that's your problem.
The annexation and the zoning are actually two completely separate things. I mean, they're kind of being done at once, but the annexation is what would bring them into Villa Park. The rezoning is what would allow them to be M1 and do that use. So theoretically, if they wanted to annex as residential, that would be something different. Or if any one of you approached the village about being annexed as a residential zoning, you could do that. You could also come in and do what they did and ask for some other zoning. The village might tell you that that's not going to work, but it's your right to ask. And
So your standing at this point is that you're not about to just come and see the zone.
our standing is nothing at this point. Our standing is that we're having a conversation. So,
Okay, 'cause
yeah,
it just appeared
Yeah.
that way.
yeah. Until a vote is taken, there's no formal opinion on anything.
Will there be another meeting before that vote, or?
You'll be updated on whatever happens. So we don't know. Okay, we need to, at this point, no more comments at this point. I understand, your questions will be answered. Director Grill?
I can't find anything in the new zoning ordinance that places any specific time limit on a failed rezoning request, but I will look at state statute and see if there's any requirement in there
Okay.
that would apply to us.
I know some zoning codes do for all applications that if it fails, then you can't reapply for the same use or same whatever, same relief for up, say 2 years or 5 years or whatever.
I'll do some more
Okay.
research.
I was just wondering what the implications of a negative vote would be on anything, if that's what happens. So
I also want to make one other clarification. You said that when a property comes in, it's zoned R1. That was under the old code. The new code would be RS10.
Oh, correct. We moved to new zoning code. It's essentially the same
Correct.
use, but RS10. Yes. Thank you for that correction. I should know that. So, at this point, do we have consensus to continue and give them a certain period of time? And I guess the question goes, if we continue, Patrick, what does that mean for their operation from there?
As far as the village is concerned, they can't operate from there from the standpoint of their access right now is from Manor Lane, and if Manor Lane has no trucks and they have trucks. Now, my guess is that the county probably would not prohibit the use of that structure as an office if it were being utilized as a residential structure, but if there's no septic to serve that, I don't know how it's even habitable. But again, that's up to the county.
Okay.
That's not something we would enforce.
Yeah, questions and comments are closed at this point. That's for both sides. We just have a process, we gotta stick with it. So staff's opinion is that in this 30, 60, 90 days, they would not be able to operate out of there, and if they did, the village would act to cite them or whatever was necessary to.
Correct.
During that period. Okay. Now, I understand that you only have police powers on the southern half of the lot, which complicates things a bit, but in the county,
I don't think it would stop the police from enforcing
when I say
no
police,
trucks
when I say
on
police
a
powers,
truck
I mean.
the police can still write tickets for a road that's posted no trucks if there's trucks on it. If they want
Right.
to.
I mean police
Whether it's-
powers broadly, though. I mean,
Right.
if they're doing something on the northern residential part of it, Patrick can't send somebody over there to write tickets, only on the southern part. Police might be able to write tickets for trucks coming and going off of there, but, okay.
Is Manor a county road, right?
Yes.
Can Villa Park Police write a ticket on a county road?
I am not versed in police matters, unfortunately.
Okay, so do we have consensus to continue? And if so, how long would staff like to see a continuation? 60 days, you mentioned?
At least 60 days,
And then,
yes.
I guess this is also a point where I will tell the petitioner that if you don't want a continuation, if you want us to vote tonight, we certainly can. That's your, I don't want to say it's your right, because we can continue it anyway, but if that's the way you want it to go, we can. Otherwise, I think we have consensus up here to continue. Who would be in favor of continuation?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
So we have a,
September 13th.
okay. Okay, so we have a consensus to continue. In that case, I will take a motion from whoever wants to make a motion to either vote or to continue to a date certain of, what did you say, September 13th, which is approximately 60 days out. That would be our meeting 2 months out. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to continue petition PZ-18-0007 until a date certain of September 13th, 2018.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Do we have a second? Any questions or comments on the motion as read? Hearing none, roll call vote. Calvert,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Orlowski,
Yes.
Bello,
Yes.
Benega,
Yes.
and I too vote yes. So what I'm hearing from staff is that they want you to work with them to see if there's potential for something to be done that will work, maybe work with the neighbors. Leave that up to Patrick and you guys to figure out what's the best way forward. You've heard our comments, you've heard their concerns. If you choose not to do anything or not to work with staff, you've heard our comments. I think they speak for themselves. I won't speak for anyone but myself, but as is, I wouldn't vote in favor of it.
Amen.
So that will close the public the public hearing until the continued date. Again, you guys, at September 13th, it'll be here, same time. There should be no reason to cancel, but if there is, it would be published.
Correct.
All right. Upcoming public hearings.
At this point, there are none.
Okay, thank you. Any briefings on village board action and related matters?
Not this evening.
Real quick question.
Sure.
What's the standing on the chicken project that we forwarded to the village board?
They have not chosen to put it on their agenda yet.
That's what I thought. I was just curious. I had somebody ask me that was concerned, so. Any commissioner comments? None?
No.
All right, motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion in a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
With that, we're adjourned.